sometimes we don't know the content well enough. We don't know the ancient Hawaiian culture well enough, and I totally get it. The same struggles that we have here. Part of the research I've been doing for the past few years on ethnomathematics is looking at not just the culture as the content, but as the context as well. So this is, I kind of created my own levels, and these are the things I've noticed teachers do over the years. None of it's wrong, they're all correct, but everything's on a spectrum. So there's kind of 3 levels I see for HCBE. This is what I call the surface level. So these are when you take just a word problem, change the names, put Hawaiian names instead.
Or the location.
This is what I consider the surface level. This is not wrong by any means. You're still putting effort into creating a problem in the context of the keiki. So this is one example I pulled. Kolea is decorating this box. This is about surface area, so he wants to put these stickers on it. And the stickers have like, I don't know, kupu kupu on it. So it's you touch upon the culture, which is fine. It helps the kids see themselves in the problem. Totally fine. One thing I really, really want to point out is context related to Hawaiian culture, ancient or modern. Yeah, we all live as Hawaiians today. So what are the problems that Hawaiians face today? This is at surface level 1. The level 2, or the isolated, I heard someone mention problem-based learning, project-based learning. So these are the types of teachers I've seen where they'll look at all the standards that they got to cover for an entire unit. What is the actual math content I got to teach? And then they consider, what resources do I have around me? What is the context? Is it a word problem from your curriculum? Could it be a place? Meaning, is there a garden or some kind of lo'i on your campus? Or even further, is there a fish pond outside? Is there an organization you can visit that actually encounters similar problems to the standards you're covering? And then that next part, to actually plan the experience, is have the students actually use that content in that real world setting. So one example I have of a teacher here, he teaches Math 8 honors, and we are phasing out honors from our curriculum. This is our last school year with honors, but he has that last group of students. He has been taking them to one of our local fish ponds in Hilo, in Keaukaha actually, for the past 3 years at Kumu Ola, one of our KS sites. And the students, they are learning to use their content at the fish pond. So they're actually being the experts at the fish pond. They're doing calculations for the folks at the fish pond. I call it isolated because this teacher is only working by themselves. They are working with another organization, but they're not incorporating other courses. They're just doing just math for someone else to use. So there's 3 options that this experience could work. One option is you front load all the skills. You teach all the skills in your 2-week, 3-week period before you go on your huaka'i. There's another option where you can teach the skills at the site. And then the third option is just go to the sites, kilo the experience, have the students work hands-on, and then point out to them later on, these are the things that you learned. And this is how it connects to this math standard. Here's a problem that you can do in class and be like, remember at the fish pond, or you remember at the local, the lo'i you went to and you did this? Yeah, that's that problem right there. So you're building that prior experience as well. Students need to recall something they've done before to use now. So these are ways to build context. Yeah, that's why I call it level 2. And the third level, this is the extreme one. And I think at 6th grade, their halauiwi is very similar to this. So this is what I would consider the kauhale model learning. So where you kind of have a cornerstone assessment, one project that all teachers will grade together or grade part of a project. So then that's why you have math will have something that goes into that assessment. Science has an assessment. Electives could, PE could. Kauhale model in particular, I don't know how much you've heard about the missions or the goals at our campus, in Hawaii campus, but our po'okula, Kaheana'iole Wang, she's been pushing this Kauhale model for us since pre-pandemic. But this is the first year where she's like, okay, every single division, you guys must be doing something toward kahale learning. So for us, we have, I guess you'd call it our ideology for us here, where we call it Oiwi Edge, where the students have an Oiwi advantage in the courses that they do. So every single teacher at some level is expected to incorporate culture, or at least help the student know their identity, know where they come from, what is their superpower as a Kanaka, and how can they use that to elevate their learning, I guess you could say. So every division here is being required to start a pilot. Our elementary division started last year. For Kulawaina, for us, our 6th grade team agreed to do the pilot for this year. And we are just started planning a cornerstone assessment for Q2. It's a big undertaking. They're putting a lot of time for us. They're letting us have subs and whatnot. So this is a big one. This level 3, it takes a lot. It takes a whole village. So, you know, for some of us like Jessica, just starting out, maybe not level 3 yet. All good.
I
different.
Add Kaipo,
Yep.
for Kumu here, when we talk about Keaʻau campus and Oiwi Edge, for us, our lens would be ku'upau. So yeah, right, like what is this? Yeah, yeah, theirs is Oiwi Edge, but for Maui campus is ku'upau. So when you look at the themes that fall under ku'upau, so you guys can like pull from those when we talk about how we utilize Oiwi Edge, how we utilize ku'upau. And if you need more resources on ku'upau, I can share that.
Awesome. So I'm hoping, and then under ku'upau, hopefully it's similar to what we've been doing, where under Oiwi Edge, our Kula's office have laid out, these are the ways you can show HCBE in your classroom. So that's what we have here already. So every teacher has this booklet that shows you, here are some methods that you can do, here are some strategies you can do in the classroom. So hopefully, Keaʻau, if you need a copy, I'm sure you can contact Hau'oli at our Hala Kupa Kupa, and they could probably have you take a look at some of that. That may be some guidance for everyone in the room as well. Some examples from the past that I've worked either for my classroom or with other teachers. I did teach a grade 8 math honors a few years ago. We did algebra 2 for math honors a few years ago. My opinion, terrible idea. Don't quote me, but it was a terrible idea. So we phased it out. But what I did do with them, well, for one particular, we did a quadratic section. I had them work with parabolas and to design a baseball stadium, a UH Hilo Vulcan baseball stadium. They had to redesign it and use parabolas to show where the baseballs would go. So they knew where to build the back walls, the left field wall, right field wall, and whatnot. So we did that. And then I also created I like science fiction movies and shows. So I did a Polynesian space race. If in another alternate universe, the Polynesians, we were the brilliant minds of the globe, and we were to space first. So yeah, Tahiti and Tonga and Hawaii, who would get to space first? So students had to have different parabolic models. I gave them some equations to work with to prove which country would get there first. A little bit silly things, but surprisingly, a lot of my students really enjoyed that one. Grade 7 math, the last couple of years, I worked with a math 7 teacher on area of circles. She wanted to incorporate that more. So I created a Wakelet. This is like a Pinterest for education. And I had students look at what is the art like in Moanuiakia in the Pacific. So we looked at Samoa and Tonga and Hawaii, Maori, all the different cultures. So I had examples of kapa, weaving, the quilt, Pilihelu quilt, all the different ancient and modern art. And then the students got inspiration from those to create their own designs. But they had to talk about balance of the design, the black spaces compared to the white spaces. And they had to prove that the black spaces and white spaces are equal. So circles, parallelograms, and whatnot. That's where they had to authentically use that to prove their art is balanced. For 6th grade math, last year for area, I did a mala for the lāhui, and I actually created that project after the social studies and English teacher had already given the students a garden experience. They were going to Koholalele, on one of our ahapua'a here on the Hamakua coast. And the students had already learned the different gardening practices. So I took that idea that they already have that prior knowledge that they already built. Okay, now you've learned all about all these plants, medicinal plants, food plants. Well, design a garden now. Design a mala for the lāhui. I gave them boundaries. This one area has to be 54 square feet. Another has to be 120 square feet. You design it however you want. So they have to really challenge themselves and okay, what shape of a triangle will I put? And why is it that big? And then they have to decide which plant they're gonna put in there. I gave them a constraint of just 6 plants. So they really had to think about, okay, if I had to only put 6, what are the 6 most important plants for the lāhui that I feel? I wanted my students to have agency. I want them to be empowered that you are a leader. And then the Mo'olelo Kahaki is a project I'm doing right now. I think someone talked about something similar where the students have, again, they have to do area, triangles, and parallelograms, create composite shapes, but they're designing something about them. They have to dig deep and look at a mo'olelo about themselves. What do they want to share about themselves through artwork? Whether it be a tattoo design, a kapala design, a quilt design. I wish I could show you the student projects, but they're not quite done yet. A little embarrassed to show some of them. But I've been tag teaming with all the other teachers. So in English, they looked at 6 different plants and the characteristics of like an ohia lehua, of a kupu, and students built a connection to those plants. And they could use that as an inspiration in my class to create that project. So I didn't have to worry about going deep into the context of the plants. They did it in another class already. So that helped me out. ELA, I worked with the 6th grade ELA teacher pre-pandemic. She was doing argumentative writing at the time, and I was still math specialist, and she had asked students to collect data of their reading per night and per week, and she needed help because that's not her wheelhouse. So I taught them how to use Desmos and graph their data, plot their data, and we had the graphs all around the room, no names on it, but the students learned to make inferences by reading every student's graph. So students that read more, what do they notice? When students kind of kept it the same, what do they notice? So using math in English context, English classroom context. These are just a few. I didn't want to overwhelm too much, but I have ideas too if everyone ever want to talk to me one-on-one. But here's some advice I can give everyone in the room. Whenever I coach or when I talk to ethnomath students at UH, I always start here. What are your hobbies? What are your interests? Think there. When you show the passion, when you exude your excitement for something, the students will automatically glom on it. It's kind of in their nature. They want to just see what their teachers do. They feel it off us as a kumu. They look toward us. Start there as inspiration. Where would you use the math content you have in your life? If you don't, it's a good time to look, because every single right? I mean, every single math content was used somewhere. We use it somewhere. I didn't mention to Keaʻau, but I actually studied nuclear engineering and mechanical engineering way before when I first met Keaʻau in college. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I can't work at Pearl Harbor anymore. I don't like this. It wasn't for me, but I had to use math there. So there's all the math is used somewhere. It really is. So if we can't show that to the kids, of course the kids are going to give up because we're not exuding it ourselves. So here's my last thing I can share with you folks, and I'll show you this website. I think a lot of you are going to love this website. So there is a curriculum library. Unfortunately, I think Dane is not there anymore. Dane Fujiwara. He was your math teacher there years ago, but he joined our ethnomath program. And he, KS Maui sent him as, I guess, your representative, and now he's not there. But one of his lessons is on here. And let me show you the website. So this is a free website. The ethnomath program was created UH West Oahu 2008, I think, 2010. And it started off as just undergraduate extracurricular program. And now it's a master's program at Manoa campus. And we are as far as research shows, we are the only ethnomath master's program in the world. So it's one other advantage we have in Hawaii. So this website, every participant over the past 14, 15 years were required to produce one ethnomath lesson. And they had a whole year to produce it, and they had coaches to help them. So for you folks there, if you're ever looking for inspiration, where can I look? This website, over 10 years worth of lesson plans that do align to NCTM, NGSS. Nahopena'ao is the AOLA for the DOE. And then you can search from preschool to university level. I heard as a calculus teacher, I didn't like calculus in high school, but I loved it in college. But what made me enjoy calculus more was when I did the ethnomath program as a participant. There was one former participant that shared their lesson. He loved bodyboarding. He used bodyboarding as inspiration for his calculus work, because calculus is all about the change in speed. So for him, he actually like put his iPhone in a waterproof case, tied it to his ankle, and went bodyboarding weekly, like for a while, tracked his data. And then once he knew his position on a GPS, he could use calculus to figure out how fast where he was going. And then knowing the speed, he knows the better spots to go at Sandy's. A lot of work, a lot of math work for sure, but it was authentic. It helped him figure out, okay, I'm gonna go to that spot all the time because my speed is good there. Let's see. Let me give this link to Keaʻau. So
I got him.
You got it.
I will Google them.
Oh, okay,
I have
cool.
an email ready to send.
Oh, okay. And then, so if you go through the website, so let me just look at this very first one. Rachel Gallant produced this erase the waste pollution solution, preschool, 2nd grade. You can see that it talks about number operations and algebra. You can, all the attachments. Oh no, is it this one? Nope, not this one. Oh, and you can contact the teachers. All of their emails are there as well. So if you're unsure or you want to adapt their lesson, you can contact them. That was the stipulation. They have to be readily available. So when you click on the links, you can see what standards they covered. There's Common Core ELA, there's math. We all had to do essential questions, performance tasks, and you can read through how they developed it. There's a lot of different resources, but the lessons are there. They are ready for you to use for free.